collective has been through a lot. We're currently trying to work on healing some old wounds. Yeah, we're shining a light on an armor that we wear and navigating through a rather murky path through our emotions of always feeling like shrinking into ourselves and being small and helpless. And instead of wearing our scars with pride and saying I overcame it, we wear it with shame and guilt, right? We're trying to transform this into a more reciprocal energy, that energy of moving forward in our lives and being able to give and receive in equal measure instead of just receiving, instead of just giving to the point of being empty. We're in this pause at the moment, this transitionary period, this like rest and thinking things over, mulling things over, trying to decide what we actually want out of life. And at this time, we may be, unfortunately, being subject to some rather hypercritical words of either someone else, a mother figure, a older female, someone higher up, an Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. You know your situation. It could also just be your own inner monologue, being a relentless bully that often really is going in hard and criticizing your own personal achievements and success, like basically downplaying how strong you are and how successful you are. And this puts you in your head a lot. This makes you feel like a nobody, right? You see how he's covering his face? It makes us feel like this. More of this energy, more of this hiding away, not showing ourselves, our masculine and feminine energies hiding away and being unable to be out in the light. We feel like we don't deserve the recognition, the love, or anything like that. And we're currently working through leaving behind the people who don't allow us to celebrate, who never have anything nice to say about our accomplishments, ever, at all. Should we stay? Should we go? Should we stay? Should we go? Yeah. Should we leave and find the people who actually celebrate us? Or should we stay and continue to deal with the people who never, ever, ever have anything good to say about us? We're in that energy because there are people around us who are very, very, very rude with their words. They watch everything we're doing in the dark and then they give us criticisms, constant, passive-aggressive remarks. They never have anything nice to say, very guarded conversations, if any at all, honestly. And they're coming at you because they are stuck in an endless mental prison of jealousy and envy. Right? Jealousy and envy. Now, that's if we stay. We're just in a never-ending cycle of people watching us from the shadows and always having something to say that keeps us stuck. If we do leave, though, we have incoming motivation and spark, incoming passion, and incoming like fire in our chest. Because we'll be in a much more, like, we're trying to go towards more reciprocal energies, this balancing of the head and heart, this equal give and take towards people who actually give a damn. Connections around us that really celebrate us, show up for our wins, and don't turn it into their pity party or a, oh, yay. Like they're clapping, but they ain't smiling. And right now we're in a bit of a sabotaging cycle. We're in a bit of a self-sabotage energy of remembering past hurts. And we're trying to change that. That's literally what we're doing right now. We're trying to change it into the Queen of Wands, into that manifestation queen, into the person of just intense creativity, of receiving. Like the Queen of Wands is someone who is incredibly intuitive, who is incredibly creative, who's full of fire and passion, who is incredibly attractive, right? They're the Queen of Wands. They're a queen. They're the queen of motivation, right? And we're still in that, like, we're trying to figure out whether to leave those burdens behind, because the people that talk about it like that to us are giving us their burdens. They're loading their crap onto us and we're carrying it around. We're trying to leave it behind, get rid of it, right? We're in this. Do I continue to carry the burdens of other people, the words of other people, and take it into myself, or do I leave it behind? That's where we're at. Why you need to hear this at this time is simple. You are guarded towards new reciprocal energies because you are worried that it's going to be more of the same, of people that you are inspired by or they are inspired by you turning into comparison and jealousy. You're not very motivated to work towards these new connections because of this, and it makes you feel very unlucky. You don't want to have more of the same unlucky cycle of being around people who spread a lot of gossip, rumor, and lies, of going around behind your back and saying all kinds of stuff, of lying to you, of putting on a mask and pretending to be in your court when really they're not. And you end up just carrying all of their stuff on your shoulders, and then not working towards your own happiness, right? We don't want that. But we're also deeply not satisfied with the way things are currently. So we're just in this back and forth of, I'm inspired to change because I'm unhappy. But I'm also like, I'm resistant to it because I don't want the new to be the same with a new face. But we are trying to leave that behind. We're trying to leave behind that old internal pain and these self-sabotaging behaviors. And we're trying to romanticize our life, to go out and carry our cup again, to try to go find new people. We are inspired to do that. This is a current little rest here in order to help you with that transformation out of this depression and this unmotivated energy, and to help you balance the scales so you can get your clarity, okay? To figure out what you're actually looking for, what you will and will not tolerate, and how you can progress forward and keep yourself from self-sabotaging while keeping yourself safe. What you need to do about it at this time. This is the time to balance your shadow self with your intuitive self, right? So getting your shadow side, which is our ego, our like all the things we've learned growing up, the part of ourselves that tries to protect ourselves by giving those old narratives. They're the ones that are basically our inner bully. They repeat all the things of the past. Well, you remember what so and so did when we put them into our lives, right? We shouldn't go near them, right? That's usually our protective mechanism. So it's like trying to balance our intuitive self and our shadow self on the same page. That will get us out of this stagnation energy and this inner conflict around these frenemies. And balancing the head and the heart. That brings the transformation. That's basically it. They're trying to help you with balancing your head and your heart, balancing the shadow, the ego, and our intuitive sides. And to do that, we have to out logic our own brain, our own thoughts. Every time we have that spiral, we need to over-rationalize. And what I mean is, like I said before, whenever you get into the I deserve this treatment, or I don't need any new friends, I'm going to always be alone, people aren't really worth a damn. You go, well, I've only known this many people out of billions. So realistically speaking, I haven't met every single person that's out there, so I don't actually know if they'll be mean or not, right? It's like, it's kind of getting a bit more ruthless whenever we get into the, like, recognizing that we're in a self-sabotaging pattern, and then providing the context and providing the context of actual rational thought to help assuage our fears, you know? And by doing this, by consistently going in whenever we feel whenever we feel unmotivated to find these new friends and family that are more in our corner, or even just whenever we feel unmotivated to pick ourselves up when we're feeling down, getting into that and kind of balancing that out. If you continue doing that and showing up for it and doing it over and over again, you will see your mood change. You will see your happiness come in, and your luck will turn around. Because right now we're still a bit too moody about things. We still let ourselves get a bit too carried away. And we have a tendency of letting those feelings steer our ship. We're supposed to be steering our ship. Letting fear, panic, and anxiety steer your ship takes you nowhere, because they're running for their life from everything. And if you run away from everything, you never get to do anything, right? That keeps us in our cycle repeats. Some emotions will have us just stand still, and then nothing changes. Everything's the same. We continue to do the same thing. We run away from our problems, therefore we never get to experience anything, or we stay so steeped in our problems that we continue to have problems. We want to complete the cycle. We want to move on. We want to get out of that. We want to go to the next thing. We don't want to stay in the same BS for forever and ever and ever, right? We want to get into our King of Wands. We're trying to bring our masculine and feminine energies into these energies, into the same area, right? We want to be the person who's respected off the rip, and we want to also be the very creative, passionate person, right? The leader that inspires, and the person who creates their own life. That's what we want to be. We want to be this person, full of fire, full of creativity, full of passion, just full of happiness for life, very bright. People like to listen to them instead of having to chase and beg for respect. We don't want that. No, you're a king and a queen. You don't beg for respect. It's you show up and you are just the king and the queen. You just are, right? And for the last part, we're still in this, it is what it is. This is reality. This is how it always is. Therefore, that's how it will always be, right? We're stuck here, and between, well, just because it's always been that way doesn't mean things can't change. Rules are meant to be broken, no? So that's where we're currently at. What we need to do is figure out, do we want everything to stay the way it is, or do we want to break the rules a little bit? If that's how it's always been, why not change something? Okay? So that's the recap. Let's get into the advice oracle cards. I'm kind of feeling the Beast Soul deck today. It's been screaming at me, so I'm gonna grab it. But I like these advice oracle cards because they have animals on them, they have little sentences, some of them have affirmations, things you can do in order to invoke the spirit, the beast spirit, to bring a bit more into your life, right? To help kind of bring that energy into your waking life. There we go. So let's see. And I do need to remind you guys again, if there's ever like, oh, cute. I love Link, and I think Kirby's cute. I haven't really played any Kirby games. I just think Kirby's cute. Let's see. And remember, guys, the only way to fail at life is to be dead. So I don't really care what you're doing. I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care how old you are, where you think you should be. If you are alive, you are succeeding. Okay? Let's see. Let's calm their fears a bit, Spirit. Let's ease their anxieties and soothe. Help them out. Help balance their head and their heart as you have told them to do so. Let's make it a little less woo-woo and vague and help them kind of step into their purpose. Get back on the path instead of taking this long detour in a circle. So, yeah. Cleanse some of that negative energy, help them with the spiral thinking, and just guide them along the path that they wish to be on. So, Spirit, some closing advice from my collective here on their journey. Help them move forward on their path to their greatest good. Oh, the playful raccoon. Courage, problem solving, and adventure. Reveal any secrets or deceit in your life. So this is interesting. It's like being a bit more playful, having the courage to reveal those secrets and deceit. So really, yeah, paying attention and calling your energy back to see who's actually in your corner and who is not. And remember, just because you have the same bloodline doesn't really mean they're for you, okay? That stupid quote they always use. I can't remember it right now. Hold on. It's
Blood is thicker than water.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water. That's not the full quote. That's not the full quote. I wish I had the full quote in my hand, but it's basically saying that chosen family, the actual quote is talking about how chosen family and chosen friends are far better than the people you came from a lot of times. And a lot of times we let family get away with way too much nonsense because they're family. And this is coming from someone who really values family, right? I love my family, but sometimes they're on some bullshit, okay? I'm very thankful and grateful to my family that I'm able to call them out on it. Thank you. Yes, the full quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, right? Basically saying your chosen family is better than where you came from. Because the people that choose to have you in your life generally value your presence more. And that's not to say all family members are bad. You're all smarter than that, okay? Kind koala, mindfulness, relaxation, self-care. Remove your tension and let your be free. I don't know why there's a typo there, but I'm going with your mind. Let your mind be free, right? There needs to be a bit more self-care in your life, a bit more relaxation and mindfulness, that pause. Remove your tension. Told you I had that shoulder pain. You need a massage. You need to get one of those, some way to get that knot out. There's a bad knot. There's some kind of pain back here in the shoulder blade in the left shoulder. That has everything to do with not being enough in our feminine energy, not loving on yourself enough. You need to get used to not feeling guilty for taking care of yourself. Okay? More self-care. Remove your energy. Like, stop giving to people that don't give a shit about you and put it into yourself. Nimble bat. Perception, change, and flexibility. You need to have the courage to face the darkness within you. Yeah. And sometimes we have to look at our shadow side as well. In order to get your shadow side on the same side as you, you have to pay attention to it. Sometimes we have to acknowledge those shadow sides of ourselves in order to even get on the same page. And sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes we really come to terms with the fact that we may actually be very jealous on the inside because we have a wound there. And then we have to figure out how to talk with our inner self and figure out where that wound even came from in order to even heal it. And once you do, your shadow side and yourself are able to get on the same page and actually work towards a better life. It's easier for you to work through your thought process, your emotions, and your triggers when you know what the hell they are. Any other advice for my collective at this time? And again, I said it earlier before, but stop telling people all your business. Not everyone's clapping because they're happy for you. They're clapping because they have to clap. It's okay to celebrate. Like, you know who to actually trust, but know who to actually trust. You know, share your business with spirit. Be excited with spirit. Be excited with the people you know deep down in your soul that you can trust. Those are the people you celebrate with. You don't need to tell everyone, because those are the people who are probably, basically, if you tell someone something if you tell someone that you're really excited about something, and they shit all over it, that person's not really for you. And oftentimes they're actually really insecure in themselves, because whatever you're doing, whatever you're excited about, triggers something within them, and they feel the need to squash your light. Thank you. Benevolent elephant, gentleness, temperance, and goodwill. Pillar of patience and kindness, bless my heart with your gentle nature. So this is something you can say to yourself, right? In order to bring the gentleness, temperance, and goodwill to your own life, in order to be kinder with yourself. Gentle whale, introspection, depth, transcendence. You need to calm down and awaken the cosmic consciousness within you. Yeah. So more of that whenever you get into those spiral moments, that negative self-talk, that negative thinking, that's when you need to really meet yourself where you're at and guide yourself out of that panic, fear, and anxiety, because a lot of times we tend to cause more damage by doing things out of those modes. Because as I've said many times, anxiety, fear, and panic are loud. They scream and they shout and they yell. And our intuition is very soft and quiet, like a whisper. Any other closing advice for my collective here? The unique unicorns, resilience, creativity, and uniqueness. An inborn tendency for creativity, finding your creative passion. Yeah, so you're a very creative person. Oh, and I got the moth right after that. You're a very creative person. So yeah, resilience as well and being unique. So yeah, getting a bit more creative and not necessarily worrying about this kind of like the things people say to you. Standing in your own uniqueness as well. You don't have to be like everybody else. And we got the spiritual moth for spirituality, psychic ability, and passion. Having mystical and satori experiences, allowing your magic to create in life, true self begins to emerge, right? So following your intuition instead. Following your intuition instead. Instead of listening to your fear, panic, and anxiety, listen to the voice that whispers within. And you will actually learn who your true self is. Yeah, courageous lion, fortitude, courage, self-control. You need to reclaim the hidden power within, right? So kind of just figuring out who you really are. As you balance those things, you will actually begin to hear your true voice emerge. The one that's not colored by fear or by what is the notion of reality and tradition around you. And you will start to actually learn who you really are. And then you'll find that you don't really suffer so much, because you'll start to understand that when people talk to you a certain type of way, they're talking about themselves, and you won't take it to heart as much. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that that was helpful. If you want a personal reading, I offer those at the link in my bio. If you watch this on the YouTube video, when I post it later, it'll be in the description box down below. Please feel free to check it out. I offer two things at the moment. It's a 3-card reading and a Celtic Cross or 10-card reading. The number of cards listed is the tarot cards. You also get the Spirit Oracle, the dice, runes, and charms. Those all come with it, as well as any songs, synchronicities, and things like that that I tap into before the reading. So feel free to check that out and see if I vibe with you. I plan on doing videos at some point in the future once I've figured out my schedule and figured out how exactly I wish to do that. But for now, those are the two I offer. If I do not vibe with you and this is the last I see of you, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I wish you all the love, luck, joy, happiness, abundance, peace, prosperity, and healing on your journey. And remember that life is an ever crooked path and you are never off of it, okay? If you have chosen to follow me, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for your time, your energy, for choosing me to be your reader today. I hope all the same for you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!